Today is Thursday, August 1st, 2024. My name is Nicole Morin Scribner. I'm a volunteer and the interviewer. I'm a volunteer with the Biddeford Cultural and Heritage Center. And today I have the honor of interviewing Professor Aimé Muyombano.
Muyombano, exactly. I know it's a hard name, but yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for correcting me on that because I think it's important to pronounce people's name accurately. So it's Professor Aimé Muyombano.
Exactly, you got it, Nicole.
And we are conducting this interview at Professor Muyombano's home in South Portland. And so I usually like to start these interviews by asking you what year and where were you born?
Thank you so much, Nicole. Pleasure again to be hosted by you today and being a part of this interview as something that you have been made some couple years ago. By responding quickly to the questions, my name is Aimé Muyombano, as you mentioned. I was born in eastern side of the DRC Congo, known as Zaire at that time, and that was in the south province of the DRC Congo in the territory called Bukavu, and I born December 27, 1981. It was festival seasons. That's what I remember for that was festival seasons, which means was the period of Christmas, New Year, and sometimes we used to have culture events. So that was the time actually I come in and was also part of the blessing for my family during the seasons. At the same a newborn is coming and we enjoyed. That was my time when I born.
In preparing for this, I would admit I know so little about the Congo. I'm going to ask you a tricky question. Is there a way that you can help us learn something about the Congo? And the reason why I say it's hard is that it's been around for tens of thousands of years. So how can you, in a short capsule, help us to understand something about the Congo?
Thank you so much, Nicole. Congo is the largest country in the Africa, as based on the different reports have been made, is the second biggest in the continent. It is also among the 5 most prominent countries in the world. The DRC is located in Central Africa with, of course, 905 square meter, which means compared to USA, maybe to clarifying this, is almost 1/4 of all the USA, is just one part of the 4th size of USA. Second point, the DRC is the second largest country in Africa, as I mentioned, but also 11th largest globally, with a population around almost 105 million of 250 ethnic groups, also speaking 242 languages, which is a big, recognized officially by the constitutions. 3 languages are taken as national language, which is French, Kikongo, and the Lingala. Also, out of that, the DRC Congo populations normally use French as a national language. A part of that, Congo achieved independence from the Belgium, and that was in June 1960. It was immediately faced by the several crises and the conflict after assassinations of the person who requested for independence, and that was Patrice Lumumba, and that time was Prime Minister. And after that, Congo taken by another person whom was President Mobutu Sese Seko, who took the place by the coup d'etat. And that was in 1965, and he rose Congo and changed even the name. At that time, Congo was Congo and changed to Zaire until 1997, when Congo changed and taken by the other people. Congo, based on the report have been made by the World Bank, IMF, it has been noted that DRC Congo is the first country to process a significant amount of minerals required to the global market. And their minerals include maybe some of them you can say like cobalt, copper, diamonds, gold, lithiums. Those are the part of the main aspect as the minerals which the world have been looking for or have been considered as the basic for the explorations and different aspect of the country, and which is a significant economic asset. Also, without forget that these minerals contribute 90% of the country's export. In 2022, Democratic Republic of Congo was the world's largest producer of these said productions or raw materials, where it had been contributing almost 130 tons, which accounted for almost 68%, providing giving to the world, to the global market. Also, without forget that the country is the fourth largest producer of industry diamonds, which generating 4.3 million carats in only 2022. And this is significant because main of the today technology include computer, iPhone, these vehicles we are using today. The raw materials used to produce all of that product have been made or just has its original from the DRC Congo. Also another point that I can't forget to mention, the Congo that has all of this, we can't forget that is based on those raw materials or those minerals have been helped different countries, especially to produce different aspects such as weapons, nuclear weapons, and the other used today by the global aspect. Democratic Republic, of course, is the neighbor of different countries, but which, based on that, it have been safe found with the different tribes or ethnics, which I mentioned below. Today, it's characterized by 250 tribes, which speaking different languages. And some of these tribes, there's what we call Rwandophone, which this Rwandophone is related, has some original tools from the neighbors countries such as Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, Tanzania, and Central Africa. And sometimes these used to be a critical cause of conflict between the rest of the groups or between the rest of tribes vis-a-vis to these Rwandophones, which belong. So I think briefly, this is what I can say about DRC Congo and its history. Nicole, also, we can't forget that DRC Congo, as mentioned, is now the home of 120 armed groups, which have been the cause of all the conflict and the crisis taking place in this country of DRC. And these groups are located to the place where we can say that is many resource rich in the country. These groups committed, and the scope, of course, they were committed a lot of crimes where they made some violations against human being. They made also abuse against civilians, including war crimes, crimes against humanity, and even sometimes economic interest. I remember since 2017, that's when the insecurity has significant wars, and they lead to over almost 8.1. This actually whom were displaced from their country, and they become external refugees. Not only this, 6.9 also made internal displaced, means from where they were from to other cities, because of these places have been characterized by this militia and the armed groups from them. But without forget this, strange, only the last report which made in 2020 for this year, shows that 25.4 million of people in DRC now they are in need of humanitarian assistance. Means they are needing of food, they are in need of health care, they are in need of housing, they are in need because of this one. Addition, the DRC we are talking for today is the home of the disaster, food insecurity, climate shock, even some conflict which never changed. And all this, we can't forget that also the same country which now I'm talking as the best and the rich country in terms of raw materials and minerals is also the last poor country in the world. Last report shows that Congo have been ranked number 2 out of the last 5. Imagine a country that today is providing raw materials used to produce all of these minerals, produce all of this final product technology, computer, vehicles, weapons, all of these current systems or materials needed by the market, and they become the last poor countries in the world. It's crazy, Nicole, but that's the DRC Congo that we are talking today.
Wow. Now, has your family going back for generations been in the Congo?
Yes, Nicole, my grandparent may have migrated from Rwanda to the mountain concentrated on the high plateau of South Kivu. At that time, that was on 16th centenary, when some of other, maybe that time it was not being called the DRC Congo. And then after, another group of my community have been just joining my family, and that was also ranked or classed during the 17th centenary. And that time also still was not DRC Congo, was still on the mountains of the Plateau. And the reason that brought them there was because they were the good cattle keeper. They used to have to keep pastoral animals, different cows, and so on, and have been helping them surviving and stay there. So from there, they created what you call kingdoms. So after creating their kingdoms, they stay there and they keep the relationship with their neighbors where they were from, which that time was Rwagasabo, and today Rwagasabo is Rwanda. From a part of that, this place was also important to them because it could allow them to keep their cows healthy as the place of cattle grazing. My great grandpa and their right family were cattle keepers, and their community lived there permanently, grow up, and they were considered better than their neighbor due to the value of their cattle. Of course, they were also with the others who were joined them, even other neighbors. So the issue was when their neighbors start seeing them being well developed, having a good development, they start create some hate aspect between them and those from my community. So their neighbors such as Babembe, Bafurero, and the Banyindu created the armed group to fight and try to destroy my communities which have been staying in the same area. And this have been forced them to flee this place, and they moved to other places because they couldn't keep having that conflict against their other Congolese. So in 1996, after the Second War, a big part of my community fled to the neighbor countries such as Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, and Kenya, and they stay in there at the refugee camps, until when Samaritans people, countries such as USA and the other European countries came, and they could pick some from the refugee camps and take them, save them, helping them. And that's why you see many people from my community now staying in the USA, living because of that good heart from Samaritan countries such as the USA and other they made to help and save my community. And today, I think even though that happened, but of course, our motherland still was DRC Congo.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure you're just scratching the surface, but that helps us to have some sort of understanding of some of the history of your family and their experience in the Congo. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your father? What did he do for work, and is this something that you feel comfortable speaking about?
Good question, Nicole. My father was one of certain children. He attended school in South Province of Eastern Region of DRC Congo. He graduated from the High School of Bukavu. After that, he went to Europe, where he earned his bachelor's and a master's degree at the University of Olivet, that is a Catholic University of Belgium. Then after that, he went to Canada when he made his PhD or doctorate at the University of Harvard when he gets his PhD. And finally, he returned back where he have been helped in different aspects and have been had various public, academic, and international positions, including senior lecturer at the different universities, the dean of faculty from one of the different universities, and until he become vice chancellor of University of Kinshasa. Then again he become vice chancellor. Finally, those were the public positions of University of Lubumbashi, and all of them, they were public university located in DRC Congo. Until when maybe he got also political position when he became Secretary General of the Ministry of Education, and for certain time, and then at the end he ended by becoming African Union Commissioner, and those were part of the position he occupied after his academic journey. At that time, he had connected with my uncle, Bisengimana Rwema, and who was at that time the director of cabinet of the president's office. Also with some of their colleagues, and that time he was also part of them, whom was Gisaro, and they tried, because the conflict between the tribes were already in the process, were already started. So they tried to see how they could try to link and again bring unity, reconciliation, and the right to the citizens. So there was a period when the Rwandophone community faced conflict, mass killing, violations, women's sexual harassment, because they used to consider them as the Rwandese. So what happened? Even sometimes could have some hate speech to mobilize the rest of the community to hate against Rwandophones. They try to create some groups, militia groups such as Maine, known today, and these also have been supported by the foreign groups such as FDL, which known as the militia groups that made genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda. Finally, they fled to DRC Congo. They tried to bring the same ideologies, and also Redi Tabara, which also was made some crime against human being in Burundi. So they tried to train them in terms of mind also, but also actions. So what was the reason behind, and why my father and all of this group, they try to fight against that? Their mind or their set, they have an ideology of saying all Rwandophones could leave the DRC and they go back to Rwanda. And that was the long message. The real message was during the colonial, when they come, and that was in 1885, between 1885 and 1884 and 1885. They tried to dispatching. So they took, because that time Congo was not existing. There was different kingdoms. As I mentioned even before, even the Rwandophones, they had their kingdoms, that place. Because of that richness, because of that minerals, so Belgium, they annexed different parties, even the part from that eastern part, the annexed Bof, they called itself as DRC. So, which means no one left somewhere to immigrate to other place, but is the political who took land with the community of that land, annexed with the other lands, with different and other lands, then they made a name they called DRC. So that is what the rest of the community don't want to understand, and which is still strange and hard to my people, and that's what even my father himself have been fight against until when he reached to the point when he have been killed because of that. So my father with, of course, my father with other colleagues, Gisaro and Rwema, played a strong role as a political activist, as they were in various aspects of political. And then my father left and they returned to the academy because they couldn't understand each other. They couldn't understand each other. In particular, I remember the time when my father actually left this domain and he returned back to academic. So we started moving, because academic is a rich field with specific skills that you needed. So we moved from the DRC, we went to Kenya. At that time, my mother also was a teacher, and it was a little bit hard to her to accept moving with my father from DRC to other countries. And at that time, my mother was also high school teacher, as I mentioned. He struggled to comprehend and disoccupy as she voiced her concern, saying, "Hey," I remember her saying that, "I'm not understanding why I need to continue moving from here to other side." I remember my father also told her, "Hey, you could resume the same work even where we are going." We moved to Kenya, where he continued teaching, and after that we went to Cameroon. We went also to other countries until when we reached a time where my father said, "Okay, it's time now. Maybe we could go back and try to see if this mindset, this thinking, and this hate politics have been changed, then try to provide our contribution." Okay, we moved from there and then we went back, we returned back, and they stayed close to his original countries, which was our original countries, and that was DRC Congo and Rwanda. And we were thinking perhaps something could change. He could contribute and he could come and then contribute to the educations. But that was still hard. So that's what happened. When we returned to the DRC Congo, we found that a lot had changed, especially indications. I distracted to remember that significant contributions have been made by my father. I distinctly remember that. I recollect, and the first thing he did, my father, he went to Catholic Church. And from there, he started to negotiate Catholic Church. He engaged with the church, with had a substantial influence over the politicians, and that's when they opened the university, first of university, which was located to my place in Bukavu, and that was University of Bukavu. And that university was great. It was most on the distinguished university in the eastern part of the country, even in DRC Congo. And there are some achievements that my father were made during that time. Yeah.
And you mentioned that your mother was a high school teacher. Can you tell us a little bit about your mother too?
Yeah, she was a high school teacher. I think when she finished her college, I think she graduated in teaching. I think that was her field. So then that's when she started doing that teaching. And the first high school she taught on was the high school close to the university where my father was been teaching. And she was also a great teacher. I used to hear, because that time also I was at the primary school. So I used to see her, some student, one day could meet, he say, "Hey, we know you are from the teacher." Some of her students, I remember, told me, "Your mother is a true and exceptional teacher." We deeply thank her for always believe in her student and enhancing their potential with dedications and care. So yeah, that's why I used to see that and hear a lot of experience from what she have been doing. So then from there, I remember when we moved to Kenya, as I told you. Also, she changed her. She used to teach for high school. And then I seen them now start working together at the university. So I remember my brother, who was our elder brother, asking her. We were just sat there. Was the round table, just sitting, eating, taking our lunch. Then my brother asked her, so how comes you moved from the high school, then you become a university staff? I remember my mother said, no, why you guys, you're thinking only is your father should keep doing this? Also I can do something as the same. So the crazy one, then my brother said, oh, if that's the case. And I remember that was the time when my brother said, okay, if that's the case, all of us are going to become the university teacher. I said, okay, myself, I'm going to be. And that's also the pensions and the thinking to become also, or to do the same pressure as what our parents were doing. I think that was maybe the day it started to come into our minds. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great inspiration for sure, yeah. And it worked. So tell me a little bit about what growing up was like. What was family life like? I know you moved around a lot, but what are your memories from childhood?
Nicole, I'm one of 6 children born to my both parents. 2 of my siblings, my brother Clovis and my sister Queen, were killed, which impacted negatively our family. When I was a child, we used to go to different places to swim, play basketball, football with other children. Because our mother was actually a Christian, we couldn't also forget to go to the church. And that time, because we were the good singer for the choir, we used to sing for the choir. So the morning I remember, we could wake up, clean our clothes, and just organize ourselves for going for church, for Sunday church services. Play for the choir, making some revisions. That was part of what we have been doing. I remember myself because when you are in the choir, you are good, you can have some specific aspects, such I used to have different voice. I remember being good based on singing alto voice. And I also reached somewhere where I decided even to learn playing piano, keyboard, and keyboard music, and I made that. We had a relative frontier upbringing compared to many others. We could explore different paths due to our parents' social and economic advantages based on their education, their kind of profession. Despite to impact on our community that was also accepted by the rest of was not accepted by the rest of the community, we had always been considered as Rwandese. And our general Congolese, which sometimes used to sing some songs which could affect us negatively, saying, people whom are the Rwandophone should go back to their country because we don't want them in our country. So even though I was kids, I used to listen to that song and ask myself, who am I? And it was hard to me. So, Nicole, that's a general knowledge. That's a challenge that always exists in Africa. So my childhood was not bad if I could think on the personal vis-a-vis to my single family, because we were good. But sometimes I could look at the general environment aspect. People were close to me. Something it could be hard for me to say. Maybe it could be good to say, hey, it's okay. My life is okay. I'm good. When the rest of my generation are suffering. I suffered due to the poverty, force family to choose which children can attend school, prioritize boys and girls, ongoing armed conflict, which sometimes used to involve the children at my age, armed conflict displacing family, lack of education, lack of adequate school infrastructure, especially in remote area. All of these have been affected, not only me, but seeing people around me, young generation suffering. I could be okay because where I was from, but based on people around me was bad, was hard to say okay.
So we talked about your childhood. You just talked about your childhood. You went to primary school. You were in DRC Congo during primary school. And where did you go for secondary school?
After completing my primary education at Mwamsombo Primary School in DRC Congo from 1983 up to 1989, I attended Maranatha High School that was still in DRC, and that period was the period when country was on the conflict, where the hate speech was been starting, where there were a lot going on. So it was hard to me to continue my school in DRC. So in 1995, my parents decided to send me to Rwanda, where I went to continue my high school there. And I graduated at the College of St. Emmanuel, Hanika, Nyanza, and that was in 1996.
So what was school like? You've had some exposure to what school is like around here. How similar or different was school for you?
I love the question, Nicole. The school was not bad, even though we couldn't attend the school one day as we are full of sad students. The next day, we found ourselves, we are 10. Not because they want to be absent, but because of the poverty that could allow them to don't attend their school. If you go through the according to UNESCO report, over 150 of children between the age of 6 and 11 are out of school in my country, followed by the 1/3 of young between age of 12 and 14. 6% of young between age of 15 and 17 are not in school. They are used for mineral exploitations, are recruiting by the militant groups and the army. This situation has led to almost 1/3 of my classmates dropping out of school due to the poor conditions caused by the various factors such as family poverty, lack of access to basic needs, insufficient government fund, teach shortage, poor infrastructure, violence, and this result those who have been afforded education abroad could send their children to study abroad, as we couldn't have access to the quality education back home. So Nicole, it's difficult to assure quality education when facing weak leadership, insecurity issue, kidnapping children on their way to school, lack of access to food, health care as a basic need that could be addressed to improve the education system.
What language did you speak when you were growing up?
I'm fluent in multiple languages, Nicole. In my childhood, I spoke Swahili, French, Lingala, and Kenya, as well as Kiru. As the primary language, I use daily with my community. My country is home to 250 ethnic groups and speaking different languages. I also learned to speak other language at school, and when visiting friends from different ethnic groups, I picked Kirundi, Kibembe, Kifurero, Kikongo, and Amashi from other colleagues. and the Amashi. After leaving the country, I went to Brazil when I improved the Portuguese language that I learned from the neighbor country, Angola. Then I traveled to Uganda when I learned Kiganda and the Kinyangole. In Kenya and Tanzania, I picked up Kikuyu and the Swahili Sanif, which was the same in DRC, but the difference is Kenya and Tanzania Swahili is Sanif. When I went to Spain, I learned Spanish. At the same time, I got a chance to visit Germany. I spent the 6 months there. I learned also German and the other European country. In total, I do speak 18 languages.
Wow. It could be that not everyone is aware of how French is also prevalent in the Congo. Can you talk about that? What role does the French language play in the Congo?
French is the official language in DRC Congo, which has been maintained since the country gained independence. And this is due to its widespread use in the capital and established to facilitate communication between the various ethnic groups in the country. As I said, we have more than 250 languages, so which is hard. So as well as with other French-speaker nations, French is a common language in the DRC, allow people with speak different language to communicate, while there are other languages. Also, French is essential for trade, which means is used in the exchange of goods and services. Diplomacy, when you send diplomat in my country, you should make sure that the person should speak at least French, because the rest of the language will be a little bit hard to him. And also culture exchange, and both within and international proficiency. So French is one of the opportunities that you use as a basic element for the communication.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I don't know that this is widespread knowledge around here, so I really appreciate you giving us that additional information. Now, after you finished high school, you went to the university.
Yes, after high school, I received a scholarship to study at the National University of Rwanda, where I graduated my bachelor's level in political science, and that was in 2010. My parents, of course, after graduated, they encouraged me to continue pursue my master's. I made that at the Kampala International University, that was in Uganda, where also I learned Kiganda, remember? So I got a chance also to spend there sometimes. After that, I got another chance to get a scholarship to UK, where I made also a master's. And that one was hard because I was supposed to do that in English, for English, but also I made that. So I think those were part of this. And subsequently also in 2014, I was awarded another scholarship for doctorate from Jomo Kenyatta University, that was in Kenya, where also I made almost 6 years there. So those was part of my academic journey.
One thing I found while I was looking online about the National University of Rwanda was I discovered an interesting connection that that university was actually established by an order of Dominicans from Quebec.
Exactly, Nicole. The National University of Rwanda, UN, was established in 1963 through the partnership between Dominican and, of course, under the Rwandan government and the Congregation of the Dominicans from the Quebec, which is in Canada. And this was initiated by considering only that time was 3 units to be considered. Number one was a missing of health, so they could only one way to initiate a medical unit, social science unit, and the teaching unit, which was the basic element to initiate during that time.
I thought that was interesting. And then you went to study in England. Was that difficult to go to another country? Did you find it a big transition?
Yes, it was. French was the primary language for my elements and the high school, even my first 2 years at the university when the government of Rwanda shifted its program from French to English. So that's when I started taking courses in English. I managed to navigate that new system and complete my bachelor's degree in that new system. So when I moved to Uganda for my master's, I was encountered another challenge, and that was in education that was involved English and Kiganda, which is Luganda. And that's when I started also learn Luganda and make sure that also I could communicate, I could at least do something in Luganda with English. So I made this. From there then, when I done with that, I got a new scholarship in England, where now the new challenge came in. I faced a new environment challenge where English was the sole language of instruction. The speed, the difference, and this experience greatly benefited me and allowed me to improve my English skills and self-confidence. I had no choice, but of course, only to embrace and go through this. I want to continue my academic pursuit, and it was challenging journey, but it was positively impacted my academic journey.
So once you finished with your master's degree, what did you do after that?
Oh yeah, I started teaching, and when I started teaching, I remember the first university I went for teach was the University of Rwanda, National University of Rwanda, and that was also it's a same public university. So what challenged me, I never teach. I knew that's made by my father. So based on that experience from the others, I could think that it was easy. That was my perspective, but was different to what I was thinking. Later on, in front of the student, I knew the course, and that time I think I got a position as a assistant lecturer. So means there could be a lecturer, a doctor who could organize the course, initiate the course, then introduce the course, then he gave the effort to me to keep helping, supervising, guiding the student. But especially you were supposed to stand in front of the student, do something, make sure that you make something great vis-a-vis to convince them. Oh, so that's where I see that, okay, so now I understand how teaching is too hard. So I went back, I shared with my father the experience. My father told me, hey, this is the way, you have to do this, you have to go this way, you have to study this way. So I keep learning from my father's experience, and it helps me. And also the challenge was after the end of the year, I could be evaluated by the same student. Not only by the university, but also by the same student. So that's what I was in my mind. I said, oh, at the end, I will be evaluated. And the way I will be evaluated, I could start thinking about that, which also was pushing me to say, okay, I need also to improve and to change the way and the methodology that I should use to do this teaching activity. So yeah, I started teaching. Then after that, the same year, I got a scholarship for PhD. That's when I went for university, back to university. That was in Kenya. There was a university called Jomo Kenyatta University. It's a public university as well. So I went there. I attended I was almost 60 years. But because it was for PhD, I could come back, teach, coming back, teach. At the same time, I could also, that was the time also I got I left teaching a career. I moved to the politics because remember I had some skills, some academic skills from the politics. I went to diplomacy, where I found myself in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Then at the same time doing my PhD, but also combining with diplomacy. So that's when I started also doing my career in diplomacy. I found it was interesting, meeting people with the suits, taking suit by yourself, being protocoled, getting the rope was amazing. So it's inspiring me and it pushed me to feel that, on my mind because also I remember I had the memory of what happened some time ago. My father also had some positions in the African Union as a diplomat. So that time I used to see that. So I could feel the same experience that my father went through or made during that time. So that's what happened after the first academic of my master's.
When you were a diplomat, is there one thing that you accomplished in particular that really stands out as one of your experiences?
I think yes, Nicole. Diplomacy actually involve understanding how countries advocate for their national interests through foreign policy. First, it's characterized by the excellent relationship between two countries, which is bilateral cooperations. And maybe it can be 3 or more countries, which is sometimes used to be called multilateral cooperations, which should be A and B having some relationship. The second point is that about having a good relation between two countries, A and B, focus on the long-term outcome when discuss the outcomes. We refer to how the beneficial gain from the negotiations and the diplomatic activities that took place. I consider this when evaluating myself and as the achievement to bring on the table when assessing myself. So number one, in terms of relation between countries, I made a lot because I was among the team of a few experts who worked technically regarding the relation between different countries. And my country was that I was represented. I played a significant role as part of the team in initiating the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is a new agreement in operation. And this agreement was established in 2018 by the African Union. It has 43 parties with an addition of 11 signatories, making it the largest free trade area among member states after the World Trade Organizations. It is also the largest in population and geography size, occupies almost 1.3 billion people across the world, second world continent. I was one of the few technicians involved in drafting the policy and strategy for this initiative. Today, the African Union implements policy and strategy to connect all member countries and align their policy. One of the key initiatives is to promote free movement within Africa, allowing people to travel free between countries. And I have been actively involved in overseeing the implementations of these policies and strategies. And I take pride in the progress we have achieved. The second achievement, Nicole, was about the diaspora that also I was among, which refer to a national community living abroad. In real terms, it's giving a significance that the dispersions of spread of people from their original homelands. I am speaking specifically about Rwandan country. In my diplomatic role, I was among the few people who initiated diplomatic policy, especially diaspora policy, as a negotiator. I was among few people, and a few years ago, only 62 Rwandan diaspora organizations located in various countries across Europe, America, Africa, and Asia was already initiated and starting visit back their country. Invest in particular in different countries initiative because of the strong negotiation I was involved. This organization began providing their contribution back home and started implementing socio-economic and development initiatives, Nicole. Some of these initiatives were under my leadership and management, resulting in the diaspora community constructions of housing in Kigali, Rwanda. One such as initiative $1 campaign, where diaspora members voluntarily contributed $1 each, and the fundraise for the campaign helped build a wage housing facility that provided a home for genocide survivors. Another initiative I led was to provide cows to low-income families. known as 1 cow per family program. When I left, near 3 out of 5 Rwandese citizens own their cows, almost 2% being gifted by the diaspora. I also spearheaded the introduction of health insurance, which was also supported and implemented by the diaspora, and today almost 2 out of 10 receive each year health insurance given by this diaspora organization that myself, I was the initiator and the negotiator again to connect them vis-a-vis to their home country. Addition, I initiated a small livestock program for those who don't have enough land for cows, offering them goats, pigs, chicken, and a rabbit. This initiative aimed to help the people become self-sufficient and break free from their poverty. These are some of the outcome and impact of my diplomatic effort, which I'm proud of today. Nicole.
That's pretty amazing. Definitely something to feel proud of in terms of making a real difference for people.
Yeah, Nicole, I think so. Making a real difference means positively impacting someone's life in a tangible way. This led to the genuine sense of accomplishment, the pride for yourself and the person you are helping as a significant that your actions are making a meaningful change in their life.
So what was your journey after that?
Oh, after that, so again, the same dream of going back to academic came back. I see, because also there's somewhere there's some aspect that I couldn't agree with politicians, which pushed me to don't continue in that field. So I decided, because at least field of academic, I was seeing this as a free space where you can provide what is necessary vis-a-vis to the reality and vis-a-vis to the models and academic theories. So there, I seen as a good aspect that I could apply to look safe, because sometimes I could judge myself. I could say, hey, we plan, politicians, they have a lot. They give promise to their resident, to their community, but they don't do that. They don't achieve this. So that one, I'm a little bit jealous, and I don't like that. If I say I should do A, I will do my best. I remember when I got the current job I'm doing, one of the questions they asked me was, what is your weakness? I reply, my weakness is that I cannot leave work unfinished. They were surprised and they asked for the clarifications. I explained I cannot rest until I completed the task assigned to me. I cannot go home and leave things unfinished. I feel restless until I have completed my work. This attitude was shaped by previous experience, such as when some of my colleagues in a previous campaign and the enterprise did not follow through on their promise to the community. Witnessing and the behavior affected me profoundly, and still motivating me always to fulfill my commitment. After decided not to pursue the previous endeavors, I returned to the academic field. Later, I went to Kenya, continued teaching at Jomo Kenyatta University with Jima University, and those Jomo Kenyatta located in Kenya, Jima in Ethiopia. Then got a consultations job in African Union at headquarters Ethiopia, where I was appointed as the supervisor of the East region. And this region included South Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda. And my role was to ensure the implementation of African Continental Free Trade Agreement, policy and strategy, particularly the Africa Continental Free Trade. I spent nearly 2 years in these positions, similarly keeping teaching at the Jima University when I promoted from senior lecturer to the assistant professor as academic rank.
Continuing on with your story, what happened after that?
Oh yeah, that's a good point to look on. Yeah, I continued the same field. So at that time I couldn't. So I got chance also to be promoted to don't continue teaching the bachelor's level when you get that ranking. So you become now the postgraduate, which is a master's, and the PhD, a special PhD professor. So I started teaching for that level. I started the actual course in Ethiopia. Then I got a chance to have some partnership with some of the college here in Canada, also helping them teaching their students. I did this, and that was during the COVID period. So that time I couldn't move. If it could be possible, the COVID also was there, and it was a little bit crazy. So we initiated online, which that was the real time everyone could acknowledge and appreciate the initiative of technology. Technology helps a lot during COVID period. Imagine I could be in Africa teaching in Canada. If you travel, you will use at least all the day to be there, teach and go back. So I started doing that, and from there I keep doing this until when I found myself in the USA because of personal reasons. So when I reached here, my purpose was I could maybe move to other state in the USA, but when I reached, I decided to come in Maine because I seen Maine was a place with a lot of opportunity.
So how did you even think about coming to Maine?
Nicole, my father was familiar with Maine. While studying at the University of Laval in Kenya, in Canada, actually he learned about the state. Sometime also he has been visited Harvard University, College of Cambridge, and which is not even far from Maine. So always he have been dreamed to become a teacher of Harvard University. So that time when he came back, he used to say about Maine, and sometime he used to tell us if you want to go to USA, Maine is a good place. And it was not because it was already developed, but because it was a place to initiate any idea related to the socioeconomic development and achieve it. These two have staying with me even after decades. What has happened since I arrived there? The same idea and the vision for the future of Maine have inspired me. All of this has motivated me to consider my role. I recall the last book I wrote some time ago. It was about how the host community appreciate the contribution of new arrival. When I began writing this brief article, I saw myself as a positive case study. I know where to make a difference, but I want to do something that should be recognized as a valuable component. No one wants to stay in a comfort zone. People believe that technology will replace our traditional way to in different think, but not real. It will not replace anything. It will be completely Nicole. Through my life, I have taken numerous mathematics courses at school, and I'm good enough at mathematics, but I can't make accurate calculation compared to a computer. A computer made to perform hundreds of calculations within a second for more than than I can. So why do I still want to manually perform calculations while technology are designed to do that in a second? Our role, which computer and technology cannot do, will not make to think. Computer can't think. Computer can't reason. Computer can't create. Computer can't initiate or innovate. And they make decision, and even based on the emotions and experience. Still, technology can only perform tasks based on the instructions given to them, which human being must guide. Technology exists to assist us in realizing our idea, our project, and our initiative. The key to achieve what our senior in Maine have accomplished is positive socioeconomic development, including economic growth, population growth, and strong labor market thinking. Although the state is facing challenge, we are committed to making a significant positive impact, and I'm prepared and capable of continuing the great work initiated by our senior. We can keep using technology to achieve this, but we must always keep our goal in mind, but by staying focused on our goal. We can reach great height, and that is my principal goal.
So now I understand a little bit about how you even knew that Maine existed. And tell me about your first experiences in Biddeford.
Was good. It was good, not only in Biddeford, in Maine in general. The first experience I made was to face snow. I know Maine. Actually, the reason why many people maybe could like Maine, Maine has a four season like some of majority countries in this out of USA. They have four seasons like others. Only the difference is that snow. So the first thing that challenged me was snow. And which shows that it was something crazy I made. When snow came, I jumped on it. I couldn't think that I could be cold. I could look like I couldn't even touch it, but I jumped on it because I was feel it. I feel that it was good. A second experience from the where I got from Maine. People in Maine, they are nice. They were cool. They want to learn. They want to gain new experience, and that's something that touched me. I said, okay, I get a chance to have someone who need to get more, who need to keep moving, to keep going, move forward. Why not if I provide what I do have with me, and I get what he or she has? Together, when we combine them, we bring a good model, a good theory that can help us together as Maine, Biddeford in particular, to achieve our goals. That's when I found myself after that time the mayor was Alan. So I met Alan and we talked. I went to his office, we talked, we discussed a lot. He said, hey, there's something I want you to help me. That's when I found myself become member of board of BCHC. So from there, I start providing my small contributions, and up to now. So Biddeford experience was perfect.
Now, is there anything that you feel comfortable talking about from maybe without getting into any sensitive topics or anything real specific? Help us to understand what you had to go through to be able to come to the United States. What's that process like?
Yes, Nicole. My country has faced an immense challenge in recent decades, resulting in displacement of millions of people from their home due to the armed conflict, hate speech from politicians telling others community to hate and kill my community, violence against my community, flooding, epidemics, food insecurity, infrastructure issues. And that had experienced me a lot, as even those who decided to kill others, even the victims, all of them found themselves refugees. From 1995, it was marked by the conflict, hate, and discriminations against Rwandophones by other Congolese community, which was promoted by the genocidal militia, FDLR, who made genocide in 1994, perpetrated against Tutsi in Rwanda, with the support of the Congolese leadership and security apparatus. Addition to Tutsi minority in the DRC faced historic discriminations due to their ethnic connections to the Rwanda's Tutsi community. Furthermore, there has been impunity for perpetrators of hate speech and other crimes against the Congolese Tutsis community, as the DRC government has not held them accountable. This issue led to the assassination of our fellow Congolese, remind the international community that no Rwandophone or Tutsi Congolese migrated to DRC Congo. Colonies were established DRC during the Berlin Conference, took place in 1884-1885, which was part of the Africa divisions, and they annexed different parts of Africa lands to create the current DRC Congo that we are seeing. The land of Rwandophones, Tutsi Congolese community, was included in this annexation. The most fundamental human value are creating peace, security, and respect among people. They are essential for building solidarity relationship in society. Thank you to the city of Biddeford, the state of Maine, the USA Federal, for standing with us and our family, bringing hope to our lives, integrating us without discrimination in various social, economic, development activities.
Talking about time, how long did it take you from when you made a decision that you wanted to come to the United States to be able to actually get here?
It took me 1 month to finally come to the United States. The situation in my home country was deteriorating rapidly, and I had to consider many factors before making such a life-changing decision. I weighed the risk and the potential benefits of leaving my home behind, and ultimately the need to safety and the secure compel me to take action.
I'm guessing that you probably can't go back.
If the reasons that led me to fret, the country still exists, it's hard, Nicole. As long as the reason persists, I cannot go back because I could face issues such as persecutions and a life-threatening situation.
Tell me about some of the things that you're doing now for work.
Good question, Nicole. Currently, I'm working for the state of Maine in the city of South Portland as a specialist. Also, where I'm trying to help residents who needs government or need state assistance to help them improving their life, helping them try to see what actual government or state comes as the last resolutions. Maybe they tried their best, they made what they were supposed to do, but till reach at a certain point, they need a backup. They need a third party. That's when you found government, the state is there to support when it's necessary. So those are part of my duties. Out of that, I'm also academician. I'm trying to also to help my colleagues, new generations, especially new generation, teaching some courses here, where I started as a volunteer in one of the college located in Brunswick. Is downwind. Then I moved from there. Now I'm at the Capella University, which is located a little bit far from here. And also I'm doing part-time for one university here around here called USM, or University of South Maine. So briefly, that's what I'm doing currently. And then still, as I mentioned before, dream is still the same. Do something to contribute to what Maine, Biddeford's community you found here, they have been doing. That will be positive more than staying in a comfort zone.
Now, is there can you think of something in particular that you wish people would realize in terms of like some of the cases that you're dealing with, helping out the state of Maine? What do you wish people would realize? An example of something that you wish people would realize about the kinds of things that people have to deal with?
Yeah, nothing much, because something bad, it came without plan. It's by accident that something bad came, which means it's in a planned activities. So, but there's a way you can help them to take a measure ahead before that thing happened. I remember when I've been discussing with my student, we're talking on how people can get more money. I remember I told them, hey, money is not the solutions of any issue, any concerns happening to you. The solutions of any concerns you can think that you have is to have a plan in your mind. Second point, think big. The problem we used to have is to stay on a small box. I'm a Biddeford citizen and that's it. Maybe if you could jump in Poland, you could find more opportunity. And that opportunity, if you explore them, could help you to keep breeding Biddeford, to keep improving socio-economic of Biddeford. So I think that's the way we need to think, more than say, okay, if something going bad, I will learn to the government to look if I can get any support. Best way, think more than that, work hard, do your best, and you achieve it. Don't be discouraged. Mistake is happening, I said before. You can be challenged by yourself. Being consistent, and try also, because the issue is people doing the right thing on the wrong time. Try to think on that. When should I do this? Which good time should I make this? If you do in that way, you achieve what you are dreaming, what have been your dreaming. And also I used to discourage people who are existing without vision. Those serious guys, change. Get a vision. After having a vision, it will be easy to you to determine a policy. You can't determine a principle when you don't have a purpose. You need first, what do I think to become in 5 years? And sometimes, Nicole, the challenge is that when you don't know where you come from, you can't even know where you are. It's hard. And when you don't know where you are, it will be hard also to determine where you want to go. So it's good to understand these three elements. So I think audience that's they are listening to this, that's only the advice that have been helping me and the other people like them, like us, like anyone, to keep improving our socio-economic life. And if I'm okay, the city will be okay, the neighbors will be okay, environment will be okay, the state will be okay, even the federal will be okay. And we end up by having the great Americas, as our politicians and the others have been talking. That's the point, Nicole.
Now, I've asked you a lot of questions. Was there anything else that you had wanted to share that maybe hasn't come up because of the questions that I was asking?
Sure, Nicole. Based on my experience, I advise people to remain positive and holistic, focus on creating and the development appropriate that should help society improve their activity related to the socio-economic and the development. The only investment that will always go up is to invest in yourself. Another one who stop learning is considered older. Whether at 20 or 80, anyone who keep learning stay young. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Don't expect what you don't do. See at a big goal that you can only achieve once you grow up somewhere you can. Never walk away from fail. On the contract, study, be careful, imaginative for inherent asset. Life is like ride a bicycle, Nicole. Life is like a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Develop a passion for running. If you do, you will never cease to grow up. Curiosity is the wick in the candle of learning. If you can't fly, then learn. If you can't learn, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Those are the messages always I used to tell to the new Maine, new Biddeford citizen, new resident, anyone in USA, globally, they should keep learn in order to achieve their goal.
I appreciate the fact that, and I hope that the people who listen to this will understand that there are a lot of things in the background as well, but are very, very sensitive issues, and understandably, it's difficult to talk about it. But with all of that, I appreciate that you were able to share what you did. And I usually end these interviews by asking, is there anything in particular that you want people to take away from hearing your story?
I think, Nicole, the audience will be interested as they take away valuable lessons learned, a deep understanding of my perspective, inspirations to overcome challenge that I have been faced myself, a sense of connections and appetite also, and the potential actionable insight that can be applied to their lives through motivations, resilience, empathy and perspective, practical knowledge, and the personal growth. That's what I wish. And also, I want to tell them that it will be good to achieve their own story, because each of us, we have a story.
Very good then. Well, again, thank you for taking some of your precious time on your day off from work.
Yep.
Thank you for taking time off from work to be able to do this interview. And thank you for making a contribution to our community.
Thank you so much as well, Nicole, for having me today.